God, this can't be real. But it could happen, right?
Go!
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 funniest urban legends.
If you ever need anything, dental floss, whatever, you give me a call.
For this list, we're counting down the most humorous of the contrived cautionary tales. Even if one or two of them may seem incredibly real to you, and even if one or two of them may have been found out to be true. Number 10. Mel Gibson was born without a face.
Is it this? Is this what you see? I assure you it is human.
When the average person hears the name Mel Gibson, followed by the phrase the man without a face, most would come to the conclusion that perhaps there's a cinematic connection. You know, maybe the 1993 film.
You perform it. I hold the world but as the world, Graciano. A stage where every man must play a part.
Yet the world consists of creative and curious minds. Those who produced a theory in which the original Mad Max actor somehow came into this universe lacking what science often refers to as a human face.
Is that the latest rumor?
There's another, more elaborate rumor that says a thug attack while he was still a young, aspiring actor left him so disfigured he joined the circus, until a priest introduced him to the best surgeons the medical world had to offer.
Why does that sound crazy?
God bless you, Internet, but please show your face if you believe this to be real.
You really expect me to go for that crap?
Number 9. Scrotum self-repair.
Take a look at what this numbnuts did.
Holy shit!
Speaking of the medical world, there once lived a man who took a do-it-yourself approach when fixing his mangled coin purse. In a devastating yet documented case of masturbation gone wrong, a worker found himself missing a left testy while using the canvas drive belt of running machinery where he worked. He then proceeded to naturally staple his scrotum shut, hoping that perhaps science and logic wouldn't swoop in to make everything worse.
But then they switched from the swing line to the Boston stapler, but I kept my swing line stapler because it didn't bind up as much in.
Unfortunately, the man's scrotum transformed into a bowling ball, basically, forcing him to visit the doctor's office to admit his masturbatory fail. Well, we've all been there, haven't we?
He was masturbating! People, please move out of the way! Please move! This is serious, people! He was masturbating! Move out of the way!
Number 8. The Killer Biscuits. The Pillsbury Doughboy looks innocent enough, but this is the same psychopath who once took part in a violent gang initiation.
Your mom has got good news. We're baking cookies. Cookies?
Okay, he didn't. But according to legend, a woman once arrived in a hospital clutching her own brains and claiming that a backseat assailant fired a bullet into her skull.
And so she better just kind of hold still and try and hold her brains from falling out of her head until the paramedics get there.
Much to her surprise, the glob of brains turned out to be the result of an exploding can of Pillsbury dough. Quite different than a premeditated gang initiation ritual.
Yeah, it's definitely brains.
Of course, this story spread via email, causing psychological damage to anyone who didn't know the difference between human internals and edible flour-based paste.
Whoa!
Number 7. Copy machine polygraph.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was just messing with this thing. These big machines, it's like...
The human brain can be manipulated in a variety of ways, especially when the cops put a spaghetti strainer on your head and hook you up to a copy machine.
Do you hold a grudge against Montgomery Burns?
No. All right, maybe I did, but I didn't shoot him.
According to internet lore, a Pennsylvania man once admitted to a crime after a supposed lie detector repeatedly pumped out a single sheet of paper that said he's lying.
Let me make sure I understand your question. You don't have an understanding of what a photocopying machine is?
No, I want to make sure that I answer your question correctly.
Such a lapse of rational thought has provided for a fantastic myth. But we all know that shady-ass crooked cops wouldn't actually use a spaghetti strainer and a Xerox machine to psychologically torment an alleged criminal. They'd probably just beat them with it. Shadily.
So, the key to deceiving a lie detector is to try and hide your real stress levels.
Number 6. Sperm burglars or pudding surprise. 4 decades, the movies have depicted criminals who rob jewelry stores and such. But where in the hell are the sperm burglars?
Bingo.
In this story, a couple of thieves bust into a local sperm bank. Without knowing it's a sperm bank, of course. And what do they find? A bowl of creamy pudding, of course. Since reason goes out the window at snack time, in this ridiculous urban legend, the burglars gobble up the bowl of baby batter like a pint of ice cream during a power outage. If you're eager to Alta Vista your way to the truth on this, please know that there are a few variations of this legend out there.
Sperm! Sperm! But what kind, Shona? There are so many types here.
Number 5, the cemented sports car. Ask yourself, what would happen if you arrived home from work and saw a new sports car in the driveway? Well, if you're the subject of this myth, you naturally assume that someone went inside to sex up your wife.
I come home, what do I see? I walk in the door and I see underwear and pieces of clothing and a guy's pants with his belt in it.
As the story goes, a cement mixer becomes so terrified that someone was doing the horizontal bop with his missus that he filled up the car with cement, only to discover that it was actually a gift from his old lady.
That's a $50,000 car!
Sure, it's a non-violent way to make a point, but anyone who gives credence to this myth is most certainly a legitimate blockhead. Number 4, the exploding toilet.
And as he's lying there amidst the rubble, he says, "Must have been something I ate."
If one thing's for certain, it's that we all fear the concept of the exploding toilet. Some people visit the loo only 1 or 2 times a day, while some will go number 2 at least 5 times on a daily basis. In this tale, a woman inadvertently dumps flammable material into the toilet, but later, when her husband drops by for a deuce and a complimentary cigarette, he's literally blown away by the set of circumstances. That's to say that the toilet itself lit a fire under his ass. Lesson: if you smoke, one day you'll light your ass on fire.
There's a poof. Finally.
Number 3, Richard Gere and his gerbil.
Name something a doctor might pull out of a person. Darcy.
A gerbil.
For any successful male star in Hollywood, it's only natural for pop culture pundits to question their sexuality. And back in the early 90s, it was Richard Gere's turn to feel the wrath of the myth.
Truth? How do you mean?
We won't get into specifics, but this utterly astounding legend has the Pretty Woman star arriving at the doctor's office with a dead gerbil lodged up his bum, with some sources stating it was by way of the cardboard from a toilet paper roll.
Impossible relationships. My special gift is impossible relationships.
Although unfounded, by the end of the 90s, the rodent story had even been referenced in numerous Hollywood films, and still, strangely, persists today.
I mean, you can only hear that Richard Gere gerbil story so many times before you have to start believing it.
Number 2, Rod Stewart's stomach of semen.
Don't you just know exactly what they're thinking? If you want my body and you think I'm sexy, come on, sugar, let me know.
Here's another pop culture tale. And while Rod Stewart has become the one most commonly attached, chances are you've probably heard this story about different oversexed musicians over the years.
I know, been that way for all my time.
Much like the gerbil legend, this story makes the rounds simply to question the sexuality of an artist, and in a most spectacular way.
It was my first ever sex partner, way back in the early 60s.
According to Rod Stewart himself, the narrative was first introduced by an angry publicist who spread the rumor that the singer had consumed a bit too much fluid at a gay bar filled with sailors. You probably get the idea, but then again, maybe you don't. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
George, did you talk to that guy about getting me some more cigars? I told you, I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to take matters into my own hands, huh? All right, I'll see you guys.
Got a high-rise double pump carburetor. That's pretty impressive, Sam.
Double pump?
It squirts the fuel in so you can go faster.
Last night I had a dream that when I got to school I realized I had no clothes on.
Number 1, the constipated elephant. As they say, no one gets out of here alive. And while nobody can predict the future, certainly nobody can imagine a scenario in which they are suffocated by a good 200 pounds of elephant poo.
The zookeeper happened to be standing right in the line of fire. He was buried.
Yep, here's a story in which a German zookeeper attempted to treat his constipated African elephant by feeding him a few too many laxatives.
1/2 teaspoon for fast, effective relief.
Only to be destroyed by a streaming pile of hot dung. Sure, we all love Mr. Hanky, but we'd rather not imagine Mr. Hanky and a couple hundred of his friends being the reason for our untimely demise.
Well, shucks, if I weren't real, could I sing this jolly Christmas song?
Be careful out there. Do you agree with our list? Which urban legend makes you laugh?
There you go. Yeah, I've had days just like this too.
For more mind-blowing top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.